For me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
There's nothing like that first cup of coffee in the morning and waking up to my beautiful bride, Miss Tracy. Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, the Funky Chicken, and of course, Bucky the Beaver. And I'm going to say that combination, the trio, the triplets are undefeated here at the Red Brick House. I don't know what it is, but we've just done some really good things here at the Man Cave. And I'm going to say we might need some extra. Last night during our live stream, I had a guy who came in here and said, Mark Holmes, the Cowboys have never beat the Denver Broncos.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Did you just fall off a salad truck? Because as a young man, I remember like it was yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Yesterday, that the Dallas Cowboys were playing the Denver Broncos and their former quarterback, Craig Morton. Okay? Craig Morton was the quarterback that took the Cowboys to the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Colts. Yeah, the Colts used to be in Baltimore before Ursi and his family took the Mayflower trucks and moved them to Indianapolis. But Craig Morton and Roger Staubach ended up doing the craziest thing because of Tom Landry. They alternated series. They were passing like two ships in the night, and it was a complete disaster. Craig Morton was the typical regular NFL quarterback. Roger Staubach was a guy who could run. He wasn't typical. They settled on Roger Staubach. Craig Morton left and eventually became a Denver Bronco. Cowboys went on to win their first Super Bowl against the Miami Dolphins. And years later, Craig Morton would lead the Orange Crush defense, yeah, I remember that, to the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. And I remember it because John Denver, who sang, Mountain Mama, I think it is, Take Me Home, Country Road, West Virginia. Yeah, that song. They were talking to him, interviewing him because his name was Denver. And the Dallas Cowboys mollywopped him. So when you say that the Dallas Cowboys never beat the Denver Broncos, at least know what you're talking about. Now, I will say it's been since 1995 since we beat them 30 years ago. 30 years ago. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we beat the Denver Broncos. I'll give you that much. So maybe it's time to finally get a win. It's kind of crazy because my offense right now, you have to look at them and say they're playing the best offense in the NFL. For the first time in the Dallas Cowboys history, they've gone 4 games without a turnover. They have not. Dak Prescott in that time, 13 TD passes, 0 interceptions, no fumbles. They have not turned the ball over at all in 4 games. That offense is humming, and they're just getting people back. We've had the offensive line literally in flux pretty much every week, except for the opening week. And now we're getting back players, and the good thing is now we've got some experience. I'm old enough to remember when people were saying, tank for Tua. I'm old enough to remember when people said, oh, my God, Mike McDaniels, he's the boy genius. Miami is going to be great again. Only to crash and burn. He literally has thrown his quarterback under the bus. My expectations is that we don't throw 10 picks. Tua has 11 TD passes and 10 interceptions.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
I remember when people said, tank for Trevor Lawrence. Do I even need to go in Trevor Lawrence? Here's the thing. For those out there that just say, oh, well, we can get out of Dak Prescott's contract next year, I want you to understand something, that players come out and they look like they're great even their rookie year. You remember when everybody's talking about, oh, Justin Herbert. Oh, my God, Justin Herbert, the first 3 games of the season. Justin Herbert, man, he's on an MVP tear. He's on an MVP tear. Oh, my God, he's so great. Yeah, Justin Herbert, 13 TDs, 6 interceptions. Yeah. They started out 3-1. What are they? 3-4 right now? I'm old enough to remember when they said Baker Mayfield. Oh, my God, Baker Mayfield. The shit he's doing. It looked like some shit last night. Thing that's been consistent so far, knock on wood, and I hope it stays that way, is Dak Prescott. 1,881 yards. 1,881 yards. 16 TDs, 3 interceptions, a 107.6 rating, and a QBR of 79 point. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 79.2. 79.2. He's in the top 2 on almost every statistical category for the NFL in quarterback right now. He is playing at an elite level. There is no offense out there that is playing better than them. You've got a running game, Javonte Williams, who is killing it right now. Let me look at his stats here because it's actually amazing what he is actually doing in comparison to, say, I don't know, Saquon Barkley, who's under 400 yards right now. Christian McCaffrey has the most attempts. Good Lord. It has 465 yards. Javonte Williams has 111 carries for 592 yards with 5.3 yards per average carry. The only person, surprisingly, who actually has, and maybe the Cowboys made a mistake, is Rico Dowdle, who's been a part-time running back, who's got 5.6 on 98 carries. Wow. Tony Pollard, another guy that we cast off, has 98 carries for 380 yards, only a 3.9 yard average. So the fact that the Cowboys have been balanced on offense is the reason why you're seeing what you're seeing. The question you have to ask if you're a defensive coordinator is, what do you do? What do you do against this Cowboys offense right now that can run the football, that's got the relief valve, the security blanket, and Jake Ferguson, that's got 2 receivers that can play anywhere on the field that are unstoppable? George Pickens has to be the most electric wide receiver in football right now. And CeeDee Lamb just getting back 1 game is over 100 yards in that first game. They're keeping people up at night. The question has been the defense. Now, here's where sometimes you have to evolve what you're doing. The Cowboys' defense, the first 6 weeks, was atrocious. Now, I'm going to preface this and say Washington was shorthanded. Their top 2 wide receivers were out, okay? They were throwing to, no names out there. Now, before you go ahead and get teary-eyed and everything else for the Commanders, understand nobody looked at us and said, well, damn, you got 4 offensive linemen out and Kayvon Turpin and CeeDee Lamb. Nobody gave us any quarter when we lost to Carolina with that scenario. Nobody gave us quarter when we lost with that scenario against the Bears. So I don't want to hear that, they were so – everybody's shorthanded. You got to play with the guys you have. And that's what I have to say, how much I respect my cousin Daniel. He's like, and I even said, bro, you were missing 3 receivers. He said, that don't matter. They all get paid, and they're on the field. There's no excuses. They got beat, and they look bad. So the Cowboys changed what they did this past week. Article from Inside the Star. The Cowboys' defensive rotation showed strong distribution, with 11 players logging in over 30 snaps. So they did a rotation. They played definitely more man-to-man as opposed to zone, which is kind of crazy because you had Diggs out. Diggs didn't play, who is a man-to-man guy. He sucks at zone, and he's literally said, bro, I suck at zone. I can't do this shit. I'm an old dog. You're trying to teach me a new trick. He's out, and now we all of a sudden play more zone. It's like, wait a minute. Whoa.
Oh, shit.
What are you doing? So, Kyler Elam, Kenneth Murray, Deron Bland, and Marquez Bell each played 67 snaps, anchoring the secondary and linebacking core. Rookie Shamar James saw 66 snaps and continued his growth, while safety Donovan Wilson, 65, remained active near the line despite some struggles in coverage. Kenny Clark had 43. Osa and Digasudua had 36. We had Clowney with 26. And understand, Clowney is still, he didn't have a training camp. Didn't have a training camp. It wasn't on a team all off season. He's still getting into shape. And maybe what we look at is, God, can't remember the edge rusher that we ended up bringing in. We signed him last year at the end of training camp. And he ended up last year with, I want to say, 5 sacks on the tip of my tongue. And it took him a while. To get into shape, basically. It took him about the first 4 games. Let me look it up because this is going to drive me crazy. And this may be the case of Clowney, because Clowney, again, he's learning the system. He's not playing that many snaps yet. They're ramping him up to hopefully be better and better. Carl Lawson last year, okay, he ended up playing in 15 games, but it took him till really probably about week 5 before he really understood the defense and was in shape enough to really play and contribute, and ended up with 5 sacks. Now, here's the thing that's scary to me. The window is open for DeMarvion Overshown to come back, as well as Savon Rebel. The question I have is the Cowboys, when it comes to ACLs and knee injuries, we don't have a good track record. Michael Gallup definitely came back way too soon. We were in desperation mode. We didn't have any receivers. And with him, he definitely screwed up his career by coming back when he did. Trayvon Diggs, not once but twice now, trying to come back from ACL, has been literally a shell of himself. Jalen Smith, with the drop foot. The thing is that you look at this and say, yeah, he's chomping at the bit. He's been rehabbing the hell out of that leg. But is he really ready to get out there and really contribute right now? This is his second knee injury. And I hope and I pray that it is not too soon, that he is really ready to go. The thing about us Cowboy fans is whenever we're about to get somebody or bring somebody on the field, we end up basically looking at them and acting like they're the savior. They're Superman, and they're expected to do everything. When we were building up and signing Clowney, everybody, we got Clowney. And you were looking at him and saying, that's going to be Micah Parsons. But he's at the point where he's never been Micah Parsons. And he's at the age where he's never going to be Micah Parsons. And so our expectations are too high. And so even me, when I hear, oh, my God, Overshown is coming back, you got to understand, he hasn't had a training camp. He hasn't had a training camp this year. He's been out. The last contact was in December last year. you're coming back and you're out there testing your knee. And anytime you feel something, you automatically are thinking about that leg. You're not ready to get out on the field and just let it rip. It takes time to get there. So, they're going to probably bring him in slowly, a few plays here, a few plays there, and try and ramp him up and hopefully peak him towards the end of the season. And this is where you look at this and say, okay, the Cowboys found something that worked. No wide receivers on the other team is a great thing for the 11 guys on the field. Maybe, just maybe, some more help will help. Savon Ravel, I'm not counting on much for a rookie who hasn't played since last year. I'm not expecting him to come out here and be Dion, but he can be part of the rotation. What we have to hope for is the offense that we've seen the last 4 weeks continues to get better. And if you can score 44 points in a game, you got a chance in any game against anybody. So I am going to play this clip this morning here from NFL A.M. I think this is a pirated video, so you're going to see it zoom in and zoom out. Somebody copied and pasted it and changed it up and stuff. But I just want you to hear the tone of Kyle Brandt and everything else, because they, after trashing Dak on a regular basis, they kind of have to eat a little bit of crow.
Cowboys have been awesome, especially at home. That's their third game at home, Manti, where they've scored 40 or more. Ooh. They put 44 on the Commanders. Cowboys, #1 total offense, great pass catchers on that team.
Yes, I think that the injury to CeeDee Lamb was the best thing that ever happened to that Cowboys defense, because when CeeDee Lamb went out, it forced Dak to really get acquainted with George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, the Dallas Cowboys duo, or maybe even trio, is the best in the league. And the reason why I say that is, when you look, this is probably the most potent offense on the NFC side of the football, because we're going to talk a little bit later about another team that's looking good, and they just happen to wear the same colors, blue and white. However, when I look at this duo that is George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, it is the most dangerous in the NFL. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this to me is all about Dak. He was sharp, he was decisive, he was explosive. You're talking about 3 touchdowns. He was 70% on completion. He had the big 74-yard dagger to CeeDee Lamb. When you see him operate in this manner, it looks like a guy right now who has all the answers to the test. It doesn't matter what you do against him. They can get it done, especially when you talk about the duel between him and Pickens, man. And it's very decisive. If it's one-on-one on the outside, it's going to CeeDee. If you want to stretch the seams, or if you want to get outside the numbers, it's going to Pickens. If you think you can stop him in the run game, now you have Javonte Williams coming alive, and they've been able to run the ball yesterday with him. This offense is healthy and they're complete. Dak has been able to talk about confidence and chemistry is what's leading to their success on offense. He's leaning on the young youth they have in that locker room. And he's actually saying, it's made me better. It's made me hungrier. So when you see Dak perform like that, it makes you say, hey, man, don't give up on these Cowboys. There's been a lot of talk about the defense, but right now, offensively, they are a juggernaut, and you better beware.
Hell yeah, and to your point, Manti, I'm looking at right now through the games that we've played this season, the league leaders in receiving touchdowns. There are 4 players tied with 6 touchdowns. One is Devontae Adams, one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. The other 2 are George Pickens and my man Jake Ferguson. 2 of the top 4 are Dallas Cowboys, leading the NFL in touchdowns with 6 touchdown catches. Cowboys right now, I just don't know if they're great yet or not.
Oh, see, there we go.
I just don't know. You know what their matchup is? It is juicy as hell. The Dallas Cowboys are at Denver. Yep. That Denver team that we just watched yesterday with that defense, that's going to be the Dak and Pickens and Ferguson and CeeDee. That's the one I want to see. So I'm not discrediting them for just hanging 44 points on that proud Commanders team. That's great. I just normally we know what the Cowboys are. We know that they're pretty good. They're losing the playoffs, or we know that they're injured and not effective.
The haters.
I'm pleased to say I don't really know what this team is yet, and I like that. I don't know what the president is waiting for us at the end of the season. I thought I did. I thought the story of this year would be their defense is terrible. They should never have traded Micah, and the offense is great, but it's not enough. Maybe that will be. But for right now, Undecided. The record says it all. 3-3-1. Questions on both sides. Is this even a playoff team? I don't know, but yesterday was pretty impressive. Good step forward.
Offense looked great. Defense put points on the board as well. And shout out to Brandon Aubrey, NFL record 5th 60-plus yarder yesterday. He had a 61-yarder. I'm sure Notre Dame would have liked that kicker on their roster on Saturday.
Yeah. Don't remind me. They need him. Jeez.
They beat him. It's okay. It's okay. Kyle, you would like to know that Manti Te'o was running around his neighborhood blasting the Notre Dame Fighting Irish fight song to his USC neighbors in California.
Okay, so we're beginning to see the narrative change just a little bit on the Cowboys offense. I don't know if they're great yet. Okay. All right. Well, Cowboys have a chance. The Cowboys have a chance to break the NFL scoring record. I'm not sure if it is, and I need to double check, but I think the Greatest Show on Turf had 33.3 points a game. And if somebody scored more than that, then I'm not sure who it is. I'll have to look and see. But the Cowboys are creeping up that way. We're at 31.4 right now. And we've only played 3 games at home. And at home, we have been cooking. So we're going to roll out of here with a little doom and gloom here. And this is Baker Mayfield and last night. I'm going to say that every week there's a new hot team. I have to go back and say it's the Lions right now. It's the Lions. Last week, people were talking about Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay as the number 1 team in the NFL. We'll see how those rankings go today, but Tampa Bay did not look good last night. And, the Lions look pretty good and pretty scary.
Lions go on. They hold the Bucs to 9 points, and they win it 24-9.
How about the defense? Listen, 9 points allowed, 4 of 16 on third down, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, 252 yards allowed, man. That's outstanding defense. Listen, we did what we had to do. There's things we got to clean up, but I tell you what, defense, you play like that, you win every game. That's the bottom line. That's outstanding. That's the way to cut it loose, just like we talked about, guys.
All right, great performance. We got a lot to get to today. Let's do it. Jeff, what's the first thing you said to me when I said, what's your number 1 takeaway last night?
Best game they played all season. That is a very good opponent. That is a very good opponent. And they were the most physical team. You saw what their defense did. And then how about this? Explosive plays, which Tampa has lived on all season. They won that battle 8-3. That is a massive, massive win for the Lions. Come off a bad loss. The way they looked at home, they looked nasty.
You could see it right from the beginning, right?
Physicality was the word. Like in the second play of the game, I know Jeff was pointing this out, that D-line just pushed the Tampa offensive line back right
Here's
off
the play.
the bat.
Second play of the game.
Second play.
Oh, goodness.
McNeil is back and healthy, and this is Baker. Remember, he's the scramble man. Nah, that's the first place, or first passing play, second of the game.
You know what's scary? Like as offensive lineman, if you start hot, you always come on like, all day. When stuff like that happens, you walk up to you, go, God, I hope it ain't all day, boy. That was scary. That is scary. When we're all in the quarterback's lap and he's running for his life play too, we know they came with a different plan in mind.
And let's point out, Dan, that they were playing last night, the Lions were, without anyone in their secondary that you recognize. That's why I said take a bow to their defensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard, because they were shorthanded last night.
No question about it. They're missing their top 2 cornerbacks and their top 2 safeties. That's the whole secondary.
That's the whole secondary.
Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator, he started his coaching career with Dan Campbell in Detroit, so relatively new at this. But Aaron Glenn gets hired to coach the Jets, and they elevate Kelvin Shepard. Talking to people in that organization in the offseason, well, what are you going to do with all the coaching departures? They were confident that Campbell had figured out. And one of the things I kept hearing was Kelvin Shepard is a great coach and is ready for this. I think last night is the evidence that you need to support that, because they were shorthanded in the secondary, and you would not have known it. Everybody's got injuries. Tampa Bay's got injuries as bad as anybody in the entire league, and they are 5-2 in spite of it, and credit to them. You're watching that game last night, and they're telling you Detroit does not have its starting secondary. You would not have believed them because of the way the backups were playing. That's a testament to coaching.
Yeah, at some point, I think for people at the game or people watching, you're pulling up the roster on your phone, trying to determine who these guys are in the Lions secondary. And what was so impressive is their game plan didn't change. They played man-to-man. They got up in your face. They mixed up the looks. So that just shows the confidence that Kelvin Shepherd had in his guys. And I think going into the season, that was the one thing we all questioned with the Lions. Would they be able to recover from losing both coordinators? And so far this season, we've seen it. I mean, we've watched. Jahmyr Gibbs is still running as he's going down the sideline in that game last night.
Gibbs was unbelievable.
Like you mentioned, they brought in the backup secondary, and they weren't protecting him.
No.
That's what stood out to me. When I rewatched those plays, it's like, oh, no, they're blitzing. They're playing man coverage, and those guys are confident enough to challenge him. I think that does speak to those individual players' confidence, but the coaching and the culture that they have in Detroit.
That's it. It's the Dan Campbell culture there in Detroit. Like, yes, we are banged up. You guys who are generally backups are going to have to play. We expect you to play just as well as starters, and they did. And look, Tampa's got a lot of the same things going on. Todd Bowles has set a great culture there. They're an elite team. They'll be there in the end, especially if they can get healthy. But what we saw from Detroit last night, a team that hasn't lost consecutive games since 2023, there's a lot of pride there and a lot of talent there, and the culture is rock solid.
51 consecutive games since they lost. 51 games since they last time they lost consecutive games. So yesterday, the group that was here with me were a little surprised. Our Football Power Index, when power ranking the NFC, did not have the Lions in the first 4 teams. They were just a smidge behind Tampa at 4, but they had the Rams ahead of them, the Eagles ahead of them, the Packers ahead of them. Where do you have the Lions after watching them play last night?
I have them 1. I think that's the best team in the NFC. And even banged up, they're going to get healthy on the back end. But they are so
we'll end it right there.
Offensively.
We know that we're going to get hit
point on the defense. If you play with a lead, they can pin their ears back.
Every week, it's a brand new flavor in your ear. It's a brand new flavor. For many, many weeks, it was the Eagles. Tampa Bay. Now it's the Lions. This week, this season, more than ever, it just seems like it is truly a week-to-week league. Who knows what's going to happen next week? Hell, you saw 33 points in 1 quarter by Denver. Sorry, Jess. It's just a crazy, crazy season. All I can say is hold on to your hats. It's going to get crazier. All right, good people, I got to get out of here and get some work done, but I will be here soon.
Can't stand it anymore. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're one on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Yourself.